welcome back. Welcome live with me, Silvia and Bernd.
Hi, nice to be here.
So, today we will see together what's new in the magicplan app because we have some major changes and some new features. Also, a lot of features that you guys asked us, I would say. So, perhaps, Bernd, would you like to start and give our users an idea of the reason why we did these changes?
Sure. We release updates all the time, right? Nothing special there. But this is quite a special one for us. The team has worked on this for the past 12 months, I would say. And I think a few words about that. Some of you might know magicplan has been around for quite some time. We launched in the App Store in 2012, and quite a bit has happened since then. I think we can have a look at an old screenshot here.
Yes, here we have it.
So this is 2013, I think, and magicplan really started as a mobile app to create floor plans, right? And I think that's still the really big value that we provide today. Nevertheless, things have developed. And about 1 year ago, we made a pretty big decision, which was to make some fundamental technical changes that will help us really keep bringing really great new features for you. And just keep going. So this is what we worked on for the last 12 months. And this update will bring you really great performance improvements. So things are going to be a lot faster, a lot smoother than what you're used to today. The second thing, there's a fresh new user interface. So things are going to look slightly different, nothing crazy. And we have some great new features around documentation, right? Photo and file management, as well as estimating. So there's quite a lot we can look at here today, and I'm excited to go through everything.
Okay, perfect. In the meantime, we have Mark saying hi there. Hi, Mark. Okay, so maybe we can share Bernd's screen. Normally it's my screen, today is Bernd's screen, and we can start taking a look at the new interface, right?
Sure. I think first off, you're going to notice there's nothing too crazy happening here. This is all of your projects like you're used to. There's some small new changes here, one of which might be we have favorites. So you can organize your projects and favorite them to easily identify the ones that you're actively working on. But other than that, things are really familiar here. Before we dive into a project, two things I wanted to note. So we said we have some interface updates. The exciting thing here is magicplan now looks exactly the same on Android and on iOS, right? So I'm demoing this on an iPad. If you have an Android device, everything's going to look just like it does here. And the other thing is, and this is really the big technical change, we put a lot of work into the cloud functionality of magicplan. And so if you're somebody working with multiple different devices, all of that is going to synchronize automatically. You don't need to think about it. It's just happening continuously.
And this is also something that a lot of users ask. So as you can see, we made our best to implement this new feature.
And then I think once we open a project, that's where things might be a bit different. Right? So I'm going to pop in here, open this project. So this is what the new overview looks like, as we like to call it. A bit different to what we have today. We had a big focus on just the floor plan in the past. Now you have a nice list with all of the content in this project, being your floor plans, but also your photos, your estimates, and your files. So everything's nice and organized, but this might be where you notice the biggest change in the app.
Yes, so as Bernd and I were discussing a bit live before, I used to say maybe some people will have a little shock seeing this page, but it's actually pretty easy to understand. Once you open the first project, then you will find everything.
I think so too. So if we look through at it and go through together, on the left side, we have all the main project information, your project title, a description, your statistics that you can click into. You see the number of floors, rooms, your surface areas, and all of that. As well as your project location, right? So all of the metadata is organized on the left side. And then on the right, we just have the different sections. And to start off, in the floor plans, if we click into this basement here, there's no big changes regarding floor plan creations in this update, right? So things might look slightly different, but all in all, things are unchanged here, and everything that you like is just there. There's one small thing I just wanted to point out, which is the drag and drop functionality for objects. I think this is something that can be very useful. So when we have our objects open here, we can just drag, and this makes it quite easy to add multiple objects to a floor plan quite efficiently and fast, right? So there's going to be some little tweaks and usability improvements throughout the app, but all in all, this update is not about floor plan creation. It's more about the other sections of the app.
Okay, perfect. So perhaps we can also mention something new and something like, for me, it's an amazing new feature that regards photos.
Sure, yeah. We have this photo gallery, as we call it here, right? So adding photos to your projects stays the same, right? You can do that here in your floor plan. When we tap into the sidebar, we have our photos and notes, and we can add pictures here just like we used to. Now, in the new version of the app, additionally, we have what we call a photo gallery, right? So on the overview, you see the latest pictures, but we can tap into that. And we really have a gallery of all of the photos in our project. You can see right now, these are organized by the date they were added. So it really becomes a project timeline here. But you will also see that all of the pictures are automatically tagged by where they are in the project, right? So we have some photos here with storage, unfinished basement, kitchen, and so everything is nice and organized. And in this gallery, we can do a couple of things, right? We can browse our images. We can also add new images right from here. And we can also export these images. So this is one of the great new features. We have what we call photo reports. So we would click into here. We can call this a photo report.
Because before we only had the option to export a zip file from the cloud.
Correct. And now there's two additional ways that you can share the images within your project. One is this PDF that's generating right now. And the other ones are web galleries, which will give you an URL that you can share with someone and they can view the photos. So this is what the report looks like. It has a title page with the name I just gave it, your company branding, and then it's a list of your photos, right? And you see where that photo is in your project. We have this in the first floor, captured by Jeff Meyer here on October 1st. So we have date and timestamps in there too. And this is a really compact PDF. I think we had around 60 photos here, and I believe this will be somewhere around 3 megabytes, so really easy to share. And I think the exciting thing here is that this is an interactive PDF, right? So if you share this with someone, they'll be able to just click onto the photos and see a full screen version of that image in full quality, right? So it's actually interactive. And that's even more exciting if you're somebody using 360 panorama images, because then there's not a lot of use in a 360 in a PDF, but if somebody can actually click, that opens in a web browser and they can interact, it becomes really powerful. And so this is one of the great new features we have here, photo reports, as well as photo web galleries, which gives you the same selection of images as a URL that you can share.
And now we also have the editing part.
The editing part of files we'll get to in a bit. But I think let's start with actually adding photos, because that's another big part of our update is the actual camera. And I think this might be a nice point to point something out. If we start with a blank project, right, this is what it looks like. I can go in here, I can set my, my location for this project. And then I can start by sketching out my floor plan, but I could also just start by taking some photos, right? So you really have that flexibility now. You could start by maybe creating an estimate, just putting in some items there, or by uploading some files, which is something we'll get to in a second. And when you, let's say, tap this plus button to add some photos, this is what the new camera looks like, right? So it's a whole new camera app that's really performant. So it makes it very easy to take a lot of really good photos. And then also has some nice tweaks and perks in here. We have a timestamp overlay. So you might notice on the bottom right corner, we have a timestamp that you can either show or hide on your pictures. We have different flash settings, including what we call the torch mode. And we find this to be especially useful if you're somebody inspecting a site and you're going in somewhere that's dark. This will just keep, let's see, where's the camera? This will just keep the light on permanently. So you have a flashlight and a camera in one hand, right? Just makes things a lot more convenient. So big update to our in-app camera, but then also some editing features like you just mentioned, right? Once we've taken our photos here, we can tap to review before we actually save them. So we take another picture here. I'll have two. We can have a look at this. We can swipe through. We can decide that we might actually not want to keep this. We'll just delete it. And you see some editing options at the bottom. So number one is captions, where we can, where we can easily add image descriptions. Because as you might know, we used to have notes and photos, but photos didn't have notes. Well, now you have the option to add text descriptions to every photo, in addition to just normal notes as well.
And this is a feature that will make so many people happy, because I don't know with how many people I talked during these years asking to be able to finally edit photos in the project, and now you can do that.
Exactly. So text was one bit, but then we also see this edit and markup, right? So let's tap into markup here, and you'll see a full tool set of annotation tools, right? Where we can just draw into an image, we can add arrows, we can add text, any kind of tools that you would be looking for to annotate your image. Additionally, we also have a redact feature. There might be a part of an image that has some sensitive information you just want to hide. That lets you very easily redact. There's the typical editing functionality that we know from other image editing. So cropping images, rotating, flipping, but also adjusting some general settings like brightness and contrast. Right? You might have a generally good photo, but it was just a bit too dark. Well, now you can just adjust that right here in magicplan and then save it to your project. So a bunch of new features around the camera app and the photos, with a lot of flexibility in how you want to go about creating your projects. You can start with a sketch, but you can absolutely start with your photos as well.
Which is amazing. I mean, you can do everything. Before you needed to maybe use another program if you need to add something colored or write on your pictures directly. Now you can do that all together.
Yeah, I think the whole team's very excited about these new ones. Do we have any questions?
No, we have 3 Ferret Studios saying photos section and camera looking awesome. Thank you. I would say thank you also from our developers side, even if they're not live with us, but they did like an amazing job. So really, yeah.
Absolutely. So to recap, a lot of new features around photos, new camera, new photo gallery, and new photo reports.
And Robert says, I agree. Awesome. Maybe we have a question from Christoph. Hi. Is it possible to get the URL leading to the project overview without having to export the project?
Yes.
Maybe you can share it or you can show it again.
Sure. So this is about sharing a link to a project, right? So I think, okay, maybe this is something worth mentioning. A magicplan project really used to just be a floor plan, right? The project and the floor plan was the same thing. Now we have different parts of content. So if you would like to share your floor plan as a URL, you would do that from within the floor plan. There's currently no way to set a public URL that will give you exactly this. Now it updated, fine. This project overview, that's not shareable via URL. What you can share is your floor plan, including like the information that you set, right? So if we tap into our floor plan section here, we have the exports, just like we were used to. We can create our files from here, our sketch PDF, our statistics, but also share this floor plan either via email, right? Or to get a shareable link. And we can click in here and then just set the visibility of that link, right? We're not really exporting this. We're saying, okay, anyone with the link can view, can comment. We set that, and this gives us the link. So now it's public. And if at some point you don't want this link to be public anymore, you can also update this and change it. Did that answer your question?
Okay, we will see in the meantime. And Richard asks, is there a training video for this update? Well, there will be, because this is now the presentation of the newest update. So we're gonna show you how everything is set up, the new features, etc. Then next week we're gonna see the estimator part of the app, because it's a bigger topic by itself. And then the week after, we're gonna do the getting started, and we will see together everything. We will create a project with the new app, and you can also ask all your questions while we're live, of course.
I think there's really going to be an abundance of materials, so some recorded videos that will be released soon, but then like Silvi said, our regular live training and Q&A sessions, as well as written articles.
Yes, Christoph says, thank you for the answer. It's great. Okay, we have one question from Tom. Hi. Are these new functions running on an Android tablet as well?
Yes, they are. So this was, again, one of the things we put a lot of focus on, which is cross-platform capability, right? So we already said things are going to look exactly the same. So what you're seeing on this iOS tablet will look exactly the same on Android. And yes, all of the features I've just shown you will work on an Android tablet.
Okay, Robert, a great presentation, but I found the music a bit distracting. Okay, we can make it a bit lower. We can put it down here. You can let me know if you prefer, if the music is better like this, because it depends on the devices. Every device, unfortunately, reproduces the music a bit differently, but thank you for pointing it out. Jeremy, hi. Are there updates to project objects? For example, can we input more into moisture readings into a moisture meter object?
Currently, no. Great question. So in general, this update is, as we said, about kind of cloud functionality and our photos, and then also the files, which we'll get to in a second. We took a bit of a pause on the floor plan functionality, including our objects and any kind of information you could fill into there. And that's the stuff we're going to tackle right now after we get this update out there. If you're somebody using moisture readings, you might also be interested in knowing that we are looking into some integrations with hardware there as well. So you could actually transfer those wirelessly.
Okay. Christopher is asking if there's still a limit on file sizes for custom objects.
Yes, nothing changed in that regard. There is a file limit for SVGs and OBJs. And I think for now, maybe let's save the questions for a bit. Let's take a quick pause and then maybe continue to the next part, which would be the files. Like Silvia said, we have a big section here, which is estimates. And we're not going to talk about that in this session because it is a bigger topic. And we will have a dedicated session next week, I believe on Tuesday, the
Yes.
8th, together with Silvia and Maxime. So if you're interested, definitely tune in on Tuesday to learn about what's new in estimates.
Perfect.
But let's look into our files.
Okay.
So what's new here? Well, basically, we have a little Dropbox for every project now, right? So if we tap into files here, you'll notice this section just lists all of the files that you've generated in magicplan, right? We see the report PDF, we see the statistics that you know from the magicplan app. And we also see the new files that we can create, right? This photo report that we just created earlier. We also see an example of a photo gallery that you could share, right? This is what it looks like. So same thing as the PDF, just as a web version. You can send that to somebody. They can click through the images. But we also let you actually upload any kind of other files. And you'll notice upload up to 100 megabytes per file, right? So if there's any files that you would like to have within your project, just to keep everything organized and find what you need, you can just tap here and we can upload those if you have them on your device, right? And again, because everything's synchronizing, this will be available on every device. If you log in on your computer, desktop computer, those files will be there too. And additionally, we can also scan documents. You might know this from other apps, right? So if you have a physical copy of something, it's just very easy to scan that and get a PDF version, have that saved within your project.
This is amazing.
Yeah, I think this can be really useful because it's not just the documents you're creating with magicplan, but any other kind of files that you need are now very easily organized and digitized.
Yeah.
And we also have PDF editing, right? We already looked at image editing where we had markups and some basic editing functionality. We can also do that with PDFs. Let's see what that looks like. So let's take, these are just some demo documents we created for this presentation. If you open a PDF here, you'll notice this little squiggly line on the top right. If we tap in here, we'll see, oh, this is an interactive PDF. You might know these, right? Where you can just, on a computer, you could just tap in here and fill these. You can do that in magicplan too, right? So if you have any kind of interactive PDF forms, you can have those in your project and also fill them within magicplan. So that's one thing about editing. But let's maybe take our sketch PDF here. Do we have a sketch PDF? Or let's take our statistics. So this is something we created within magicplan. We click on this squiggly line. We can add annotations here too. So maybe this is something you're sending to a customer or a colleague and you want to point something out. Well, you have these tools on the bottom left where you can just draw into your PDF, right? We can put a circle here. We can add arrows, just all those annotation objects like you'd know them from image editing, but you can do it within a PDF. You can even go so far as to add a photo to this PDF, right? We can just snap a picture here and we can tap on the screen and we'll have our photo just saved in our PDF like that. So it makes it really easy to add additional information to your PDFs.
Okay. Caesar says it's great for the change orders.
Oh, absolutely. And the final thing, which might be related to this, is we can also edit existing content, right? So we've just added annotations, but let's jump in here. We'll notice on the top left, we have a little icon where we can see all of the pages in our report PDF. And we can tap and hold on a page, right? We can use it to navigate between the pages, but we can also just change the order, right? So if for some reason you're not happy with the order of pages the way they came out, you can just definitely go in here and say, hey, you know what? I want this as a page right here. Or you could go in and say, hey, I actually don't need these last few pages, so I just delete them, right? Select, delete. Why is it not working?
No.
The live demo situation.
It can happen. It can happen.
Okay, we can delete pages in a PDF. Or we can, if we jump in here, we have a look at our report PDF again. We can actually edit the content of the PDF, right? You might have noticed I just switched to content editor, and I might have a typo in this title for some reason. I just want to edit that. I can just go in here, update the text. Or I might not like this little map. I can just tap it, delete it, right? So it makes it very easy to customize and update any PDFs that you have. We can add additional information, but we can also edit existing ones.
Yes, so I will pick up some questions. So Tobias says, okay, this is like a compliment more than a question, but nice to see that you have the flashlight function built in. Well, this is something additional to some, or to the Android devices, right? Because the flashlight was not available for some devices when taking pictures. Now there is.
Yeah.
Tobias, where there'll be an educational video in German. We can do that. We can discuss that, but okay. I mean, if it's something you guys are interested in, we can definitely do a getting started live or recorded in German. Okay, let me see. Robert, is the CSV Statistics still included?
Yes, absolutely. Nothing's been removed there, and it's not been changed either.
Okay, then Jeremy says, these updates are really great. Thank you. Okay, then Christoph is asking, is it possible to generate DWG, PDF, etc. directly from the project overview web interface? I think he means the crowd, by the person who received the generated URL you discussed earlier?
Mm-hmm. Great question. Currently, no, but that is something we're looking into.
No other questions for now.
Okay. All right. So I think in summary, there are quite a few changes here, but I believe this update will still not disrupt any workflows because all of the things you're used to are basically unchanged, right? We have a slightly visually updated project screen with all of our projects. Nothing really big and new here. A really nice update to our project overview that gives you an eagle's eye view on what is in your project. Functionality around floor plan creation has not significantly changed with this update. As big new features, we have a new camera app that makes it really easy to take a lot of really good pictures. We have a photo gallery that makes it super easy to browse and find the correct images in a project. You can share these as a report. We just looked at creating this report that had all of the images. You can also just select a few, right? Let's say there's this selection of images that need to be sent to somebody and you want to do that in a professional way and create a nice branded report. You can do that right here. And maybe this is a let's say a weekly update, right? Well, this file is just going to contain the photos we just selected. So you can share all or just a selection of images. You can decide how many pictures are on a page, and it's really fast.
And it also looks good. It's not like randomly sending out some pictures. It's
exactly
professional,
this is
as
professional.
you said.
It has your logo on there, and you can add a text description. Everything's interactive so that somebody can see a full quality version of this and also interact with 360 panoramas if you have some in there. And if somebody prints this, they can also use that QR code to then see the digital version again.
We have Eben. Hi. saying, have been using this in beta and it's great. And searching of plans is also great with the new app. Having all docs together is amazing. Well done, magicplan.
Thank you.
Okay, then we have two more questions. Mark asks, I would have very much liked to have had a viable realization of pitched roofs. Do you already have a roadmap for this? I always lose a lot of time here. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And we hear you. You might know our public feedback board. If you visit our website, there's also a link. You can go to magicplan.canny.com. And we have a, let's say, public roadmap there. Maybe Silvia, we can actually pull this up. While
I wanted to share the link.
Perfect.
This one down here.
And you'll see on there, yes, absolutely, pitched roofs is one of the topics that are on the roadmap right now.
So this one, magicplan.canny.io. I can also check if I go, because I don't want to go in the vision where you can see all users' emails that are going out there. So let's see that I remove my admin view and we see just the regular, let's see here, roadmap. Give me 1 sec that I take the other screen. So here we have it in here. Canny. Okay. I don't know if it's appearing. Give it 1 sec. It's loading. Here we go.
Yeah, so this page, you'll be able to leave feedback, like ask for new features, also report bugs. You'll be able to see what's on our roadmap right now. And you'll also be able to click into our changelog right there, where you'll see announcements with any recent updates that we've made.
Okay, perfect. Voila. Okay. I go back to the app because it's making it a bit. Okay, let me take the app just in case the next questions are regarding some features. Okay, so here it is. In 1 second, it's still loading, I think. Okay, in the meantime, let me see. Okay, it's not. Okay, it doesn't like to share the app anymore. Let me see. Okay, let me take it again. Okay, give it 1 sec. In the meantime, let me check. Let's do like this. Tom. Okay, is there any limit on data size when importing external files, and how are they stored?
So there's a limit per file, where it's like, don't upload a file that's larger than 100 megabytes at a time. Other than that, there's no limit, and they're stored as long as you want them to be stored. So as soon as you decide to delete them, obviously the data is deleted. Other than that, there's no limit.
Okay, Cesar, I don't know if you've talked about the scanning because I came a little late. Is there any improvement in scanning, open space scanning?
Not as of now, but same as the pitched roofs, adding support for open concept rooms and scanning is one of the topics we're starting right after this update.
Okay, then Mark is asking, when will this update or new release be available?
It depends, I'm afraid to say. So it depends on which platform you're on. We have already started rolling this out on the Android platform, and we're looking to start rolling out on iOS as well. I would say it's safe to assume that you will have access to this within the next 2 weeks.
Okay. Will you also support Insta360 cameras?
Let's see. Right now, that's not a topic on our roadmap, but we would definitely consider looking into that.
Okay, then Tom says, great work, thanks.
On the topic of 360s, the new application with this update is now compatible with all of the different Ricoh 360 camera models. The app until now wasn't compatible with the newest models, and that is now changed. And then we'll look into support for other manufacturers going forward. If that's something you want to see, visit that feedback site, magicplan.canny.io, and that Silvia showed us before. Leave a feature request there or vote on existing ones. And that's really the best way that you can get your voice heard. Our whole team monitors that page, and you get really easy access to us.
Okay, perfect. Is there something else that you would like to add in this first overview or public overview of the newest app version?
I think we're all super excited to hear your feedback and to get this out there. As I said, I think within the next 2 weeks, it's safe to say that you'll have access. In summary, again, it's really great performance improvements. Things are going to be really snappy, fast, and smooth for you. If you're somebody primarily working with floor plans, you'll see some nice quality of life improvements. Nothing major there, though. For anyone using the app for documentation and estimating sake, there's actually quite a lot in this update, and we're looking forward to hearing from you.
Yes, so we have also a couple of questions in addition. Christoph is asking, is a 3D representation of the room added to the report?
Currently, no.
Okay, but he can submit a feature request. Absolutely. And we can think about. Okay, we have one more question here. What about the drawing room into another room feature without the need to insert separated walls and the sloped ceilings?
Yeah, like the sloped ceilings, a topic on our roadmap, and we had to pause a bit on further development around the floor plan, and a topic that we're going to pick up with full speed once this update is out there. You'll see our roadmap where we have our sloped ceilings as a priority topic. Rooms inside rooms, I know, is on that feature request board too. Please vote for that, and then you'll be notified automatically as soon as we start work on that.
Okay, Mark says, thank you. Desperately waiting for all your feature releases. You rock. Thank you. Okay. So, do we have any other questions, Bernd? I think you're happy with what we showed for today.
I think we're all thrilled to get this out there and to hear the feedback.
Okay, we will have another live session with Bernd in November. So just in case I'm telling it, then you will have all notifications and everything. So don't worry. But just in case you have a question, then later on, you know that Bernd will be back.
And definitely tune in next week on Tuesday the 8th to see a deep dive on estimates.
Okay, perfect. Then we have no other question. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you so much for being with us during this live session. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're also excited as Bernd and I are with the new app version. For any questions, if you're watching the replay, feel free to contact us here at support@magicplan.app, and we will always be available to answer any questions. So, Bernd, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys, and I'll see you next week with the next live video, I would say. So, bye.